TGC Requiem. We're here with some modern elves, getting a little back to the roots. Basically, I traded away a couple Tarmogoyfs when word was that it was getting reprinted in Modern Masters, and so I'm waiting for the price to drop a little more before I pick them back up. So the other decks I normally play, not going to play today. And I thought, well, why don't we play some elves? Played it a little bit. I've been playing it off and on over the last couple weeks just for fun. There's part of me that feels like it's set up pretty decently in the meta right now, and since I basically don't have many other choices, since almost apparently every other deck I have is pretty much a Tarmogoyf deck, these are our choices tonight, so we're going to go ahead and keep this. It's not the greatest opening hand. So ideally we'd like a turn 1 mana dork. It is kind of okay. We can draw into a turn 2 1 CMC creature to pair up with Heritage Druid, and then it looks pretty good. But as it is, we're just going to run out the Nettle Sentinel. Of course, our Goblin Wall player is on blue, so probably Merfolk. So we're actually going to run the Dwynen's Elite out here. Merfolk is supposed to be a pretty good matchup for elves. Merfolk's one of the matchups I have the most trouble against, though, so we'll see how well that actually plays out. So we're holding back the Druid because if he ends up dismembering or something, we don't want the Heritage Druid dismembered. We still want to be able to kind of combo off a little with Heritage Druid next turn. Spreading Seas. So we're going to start with Heritage Druid into Visionary. Heritage Druid, Visionary, and we should be able to get, we might be able to get Azuri down as well. Okay, so we actually have a couple different trees here. We could let this mana go, play a forest into Druid. So attack for 4, play a forest, play the Druid, which untaps the Nettle Sentinel, taps the Nettle Visionary, and Druid to cast Azuri. I like that. Then with Shaman of the Pack as backup for the next turn. I think that is the route we want to go. Yes. So we'll have a pretty big attack next turn. With the Shaman of the Pack. So if he spends a whole turn dismembering here, doesn't look like that's the case. So if he doesn't play a land, that's just game. Right, so we can tap 3, overrun for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and yeah. So we'll just... $15, $19. So he could flash in a Lord. See, and this is why I always lose to Merfolk, because I didn't consider the silly fact that he could bounce or throw a Lord in front of there. But he's still going to take too much damage. Even if he flashes in a Lord, he's at most going to be... He's just going to be chump blocking still. Harbinger was the big risk, so he bounces the Azuri. He still has to chump, because this is lethal. Shake the rust off with this deck. That's fine. And we are a Shaman of the Pack away from the win. There's almost nothing he can do at this point to stop that. Short of a second Spreading Seas, which is pretty much a concession from him anyway. So he could have a pretty cool turn with Mara Reejerey, but again, even if he does kind of go off with the Reejerey, because we have the Shaman of the Pack, we're in good shape. Alright, so we get a turn 5 win there. As I've been playing with this deck lately, I just forget how quickly, how consistently the deck wins on turns 4 and 5. Very explosive. Though I am certainly a bit rusty today. Well, in general with the deck. So... we're just supposed to already be the stronger deck here. I could possibly see bringing in a Maelstrom Pulse. So the big card you have to be worried about from Merfolk typically, which I don't know if they're running very many right now, would be Hibernation, so you don't want to overextend into that. But beyond that, we're supposed to have such a good matchup. I could see Lifecrafter's Bestiary being a little slow. This is something I'm just kind of playing. Right now I think Lead the Stampede's probably better than Chord in the build. Everybody's focused on removal, and Lead the Stampede is kind of grindy card advantage. Well, Lifecrafter's Bestiary is also very much grindy card advantage. I don't know that it's worth pulling though. I don't know that we really want any chords. I think we would definitely want to bring in the Reclamation Sage. I would anticipate Hibernation, returning creatures to hand, so I'm not so worried about running out of creatures with Lead the Stampede. I think actually Chord is a little more appealing right here. Being able to get a Shaman sort of thing to finish it off. Beyond that though, I don't really feel like there's anything else that I'm dying to bring in. Especially on the draw when we're looking to go fast. Lost Legacy actually on the play wouldn't be too bad to steal Spreading Seas, but this is a greedy hand. So this is a very good hand if we draw into a second land. Even if he takes a second turn to Spreading Seas our Forest, we still theoretically then have our Mystic alive. I think we keep this. And then that should allow us to cast into a Visionary, which will hopefully hit us a card within our 3 draw steps there. Mutavault. Alright, so here's the Spreading Seas. So we'll plan on going turn 2 Visionary. Though a Heritage Druid, well, Heritage Druid doesn't change that. Ooh, hey. So, 3, 4. We can go Nettle Sentinel. So we're going to play the Blooming Marsh over the Gilt Leaf Palace here. Well, actually, that's not. Yes, that's true. Just in case we run into a situation where we want to run like Cavern the next turn, if we'd run the Gilt Leaf and then we really want to run Cavern for some reason, maybe our opponent, we're worried about Unified Will, which we're not in this scenario. We just want to make sure that Gilt Leaf is a lot more likely to be able to be cast upright the following turn, where Blooming Marsh is less likely. So I think we're just going to run out Nettle Sentinel at this point. That was actually a little bit of a mistake by me. I probably should have run out Llanowar Elves actually, so that I could collect a company the next turn. Now we're going to have to get enough land to cast it through the Curse Catcher, which we didn't know the Curse Catcher was going to drop, but there's a reasonable chance. So he has an extraordinarily slow draw here. We will gladly... What's he going to do with the Vial here? Is he going to... Okay, so I actually thought he might be bouncing our Mystic to try and keep us off green mana, which would have been a pretty great and aggressive play. So here I definitely think I want to lead with Visionary. And this way, if we hit a Heritage Druid, we can cast that off the Gilt Leaf Palace. So even though it would be more mana efficient to actually cast the Dwynen's Elite, we just really want to make sure we're in position to Coco through a Curse Catcher next turn. Opponent's still stuck on 1 blue mana. Double Curse Catcher, nice. Okay, so we're going to go Heritage Druid. We're going to generate quite a bit of mana here. He may just let the first one go. I can't imagine him trying to sack 2 Curse Catchers. Oh my god. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can actually just Shaman of the Pack him out twice here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. These other cards would be good, really good in other matchups, but that's just game. That's game. And that's a turn 4, folks. Alright, so trees beat water. So it's supposed to be a favorable match for Elves. Obviously you can see why. They don't have a lot of spot removal, so it's hard for them to interact with the individual pieces that get the thing going. So in this case we actually didn't really have anything like monstrous other than the Cocos into the Shaman of the Packs. That was a beautiful top deck there, though. I mean, honestly, the game plays out a little bit differently or significantly differently if we don't hit that Heritage Druid on top. But Elves is explosive. It's fun to play, and it's fun and nice to beat Merfolk. So 2-0, and then yeah, 2-0 in the match and 1-0 on the league so far. This is just a friendly league, and then we'll be back with the next match shortly.